The death in this case was absolutely unnecessary.
Ahead on Q2, a sentence handed down.
I'm sorry that you guys had to undergo this trauma over and over and over.
The shooter in a downtown road rage incident, all captured on camera, apologizes before being sent off to prison. Plus, the storm moving in from rain to snow to even grapple. Montana and Billings was dealt with a little bit of everything today. Jason will break down the forecast. And flying high while making a difference. Billings' Big Air Bash set to give back to a Park City family that has dealt with heartbreak not once, but twice in a matter of months. The MTN 10 o'clock news starts right now.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Well, good evening and thanks for joining us on this Thursday night. I'm Russ Riesinger. Tonight, one man is dead after an officer-involved shooting involving two Montana Highway Patrol troopers in Big Timber. According to MHP, the situation began when troopers were alerted that a suspect from Nebraska wanted for threatening to use explosives or place bombs had entered Montana. The suspect's vehicle was located around 2:45 this afternoon, and troopers attempted to initiate a traffic stop, but the man fled. Eventually, a pit maneuver was used to stop the vehicle, but that was unsuccessful. And shortly after that, he began to fire shots. Two troopers returned fire, killing the suspect. MHP says the entire incident lasted around 3 minutes and no law enforcement was injured. The troopers have been placed on administrative leave per standard company policy.
We overheard here in our office at the Laurel Way Station that they noticed him there. And so my agency got involved. Highway Patrol was involved, Stillwater County, Park County. On either side, we were all kind of looking for him, that he was in this area.
The suspect's name has not yet been released. The Montana Division of Criminal Investigation will be the lead agency on the case. 70 years in prison, that's the sentence for 31-year-old Jacob Troxel after a shooting in August of 2022 when a road rage incident turned to murder. 29-year-old Michael Duran lost his life in that crime. Our Haley Monaco was at the courthouse as the decision was handed down, wrapping up 2.5 years of agony for the Duran family.
This is where it happened. Jacob Troxel shot Michael Duran 8 times. The shocking footage was all captured here on our MTN studio security cameras. On Thursday, during the sentencing, Troxel apologized to Duran's family.
He was wild and free and so curious.
Before the sentencing was handed down by Yellowstone County Judge Jessica Fair.
He was just proud of his life at this point in time. He was just proud, and you took that from him, Jacob Troxel. You took his life.
Powerful impact statements were heard from Duran's family and friends, highlighting his carefree, kind personality.
He was silly and funny and intelligent and kind and a gentleman, genuinely.
And how broken they have all felt since his death on August 20th, 2022. During this, Troxel remained still.
My heart breaks for Michael Duran's family.
But Troxel shed tears when it was his family and friends' turn to share their statements.
He really is just a big, gentle giant.
I would ask for mercy to give Jacob a chance to fill his role as a father, a son, and a husband.
And Troxel shared his remorse.
I am truly sorry for the events that day.
Through a tearful apology.
To Michael's mother, nobody should ever have to bury their son. It's not fair.
The prosecution recommended 85 years in prison, while Troxel's defense asked for a sentence of 30 years with 18 suspended.
I'm ready to face sentencing.
Ultimately, Judge Fair decided on a sentence between the two.
The death in this case was absolutely unnecessary. Deliberate homicide means that Mr. Duran will never be 30. He will never have children.
60 years with an additional 10 for weapons enhancement, with none suspended.
I tell my kids not to make eye contact with people in the car. And part of that was from this case. It's changed the way we live. It's changed the way we live in our community.
And left the courtroom with an impactful message to live with kindness and love for all.
And I would just encourage everyone to leave today doing what Michael would have wanted you to do.
In Billings, Haley Monaco, MTN News.
Well, tonight the Montana legislature is fast approaching another deadline. There's a lot of movement this week on bills seeking to offer property or income tax relief. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian has the latest on where these bills stand and what they could mean for Montanans.
As the legislative session approaches its 2/3 mark, all bills that affect state revenues need to pass through either the House or Senate by the end of the day on Saturday. That means the huge number of bills tackling Montana's property taxes and income taxes could soon be getting narrowed down.
We're down to a matter of choices now. That's where we're at in the session.
On Wednesday, the Senate Taxation Committee voted down 2 of Governor Greg Gianforte's priority tax proposals. House Bill 231, the homestead property tax reduction for primary residences, long-term rentals, and small businesses, and House Bill 323, the proposal to reduce Montana's top income tax rate by up to 1 percentage point. At a news conference Thursday, Gianforte said he was disappointed in the vote and remained convinced these were the best tax relief options for the state.
Montanans expect us to pass permanent property tax relief, and because we already have the highest income tax rate in the region, we can't lower property taxes by further burdening income taxpayers. So those are the boundaries on the box that I'm willing to negotiate with the legislature.
Earlier this week, the Senate endorsed SB 203, which would expand the lower income tax bracket instead of lowering the top rate. A committee then tabled the bill, but it was revived and passed a final vote in the Senate on Thursday. The Senate also advanced SB 546 on Thursday, which would create income tax credits, an option more targeted to those with lower incomes.
You know, I think both, if you move both forward, we can do some sort of hybrid. We can kind of massage these numbers, see what some of the weaknesses are.
Meanwhile, a House committee has endorsed another option on property taxes, HB 528, which would lower tax rates on residential, commercial, and agricultural properties. Republican Representative Ed Burns sponsored the bill and says he knows it would only be part of whatever final arrangement the legislature reaches on taxes.
So they could use mine as the base, or they can just take pieces and put in others. What we want is the maximum, without caring who gets the credit for it, we want the maximum property tax relief.
The governor said Thursday that nothing is really over until the session is over, and there's likely to be a lot more back and forth before we get the final picture of what tax relief the legislature is going to put forward. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
President Trump's sweeping tariffs that he announced yesterday, sending financial markets around the world falling as fears of a possible global recession grow. An across-the-board 10% tariff on all imports set to begin Saturday, then added reciprocal tariffs start next week. The Trump administration's 25% tariff on all foreign vehicles and auto parts kicked in at midnight. The Dow Jones Industrial Average continued its slide, falling 1,679 points, almost 4%. The NASDAQ fell more than 1,000. While the president says things are going well, others are becoming increasingly nervous.
Never seen anything like it. The markets are going to boom. The stock is going to boom. The country is going to boom. And the rest of the world wants to see, is there any way they can make a deal?
But let me just say, what we face now is a gigantic, bleeding, self-inflicted wound that is reverberating across the globe.
Economists say that Americans are likely to see even higher prices at the grocery store in coming weeks and months, something Trump had pledged to bring down on day one if elected. The National Weather Service is calling it a storm system of epic and historic proportions. Nearly a dozen tornadoes, high winds, and flooding sweeping across several states from Texas to Indiana to Michigan. The storms have left at least 7 people dead and dozens more injured, destroying homes, cars, and trees in the process. In all, more than 260,000 homes and businesses were without power this afternoon, and the National Weather Service warns these storms are not over yet, with lots more rain and possible tornadoes ahead. And this was the scene earlier in downtown Billings outside the Q2 studios. Rain turning to graupel and finally becoming these very large snowflakes. With a first look at the forecast, here's meteorologist Jason Stiff.
Welcome to April and welcome to spring. The last couple of hours we've had some light snow around Cody as well as Sheridan, and more areas of light snow from Livingston through Big Timber, Columbus, also in the Billings area. We had rain and snow mixes earlier, had some rumbles of thunder also, but for the last several hours it's been fairly large snowflakes around the Magic City and many parts of the I-90 and I-94 corridors. Now some rain showers turning over to snow in far southeastern Montana and Carter County, a little bit more south or northwest rather of Broadus. So we still have more active winter-like weather right now, but there are changes coming. I'll have your 7-day forecast coming up.
Premature infants and their parents are getting a major upgrade at Billings Clinic.
1, 2, 3.
Karen and Dick McComish cut the ribbon in front of the new McComish Family Neonatal Intensive Care Unit. The new NICU will provide more space for families and hospital staff, including fold-out beds for parents to sleep on so they can stay with their babies overnight. The $4 million project was made possible through the generosity of donors.
Incredibly generous community in and around Billings, and philanthropy has been at the forefront of a lot of the major projects that have happened at Billings Clinic, and so we're so pleased to have our major donors step forward and make this project a possibility.
Although staff just finished moving the equipment into the facility, they hope to bring the tiny patients into the new NICU as soon as Tuesday.